Hey everybody, Chris AMS, hope you're all well and welcome to another video. What have we got in store for you today, you might ask? Well, we've got a 2015 Polo behind us. Customer's complaint is that the airbag light's on, the horn doesn't work and the steering wheel controls don't work. So we need to diagnose this so we make sure we're not fitting any parts that aren't required. So let's get into this. Remember, it's test, don't guess. And yeah, follow along. Let's see if we can get to the bottom of this one. As always, it's really helpful if you would leave us a like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow the channel and reach more people. It's really appreciated. So first step, if you've not seen us before, obviously we need to confirm the customer's complaint. So we're going to start the vehicle up and just have a look at the dashboard and see what's going on. Right, so we're in the vehicle. Let us turn the ignition on, see what we got in a bit. So we've got error airbag on the dashboard. Let's start it up, see what lights stay on, what goes off. So there we have in the bottom left there the yellow airbag warning light on. The customer complaint is that the horn wasn't working. That doesn't seem to be working either, and you should be able to, pressing the buttons on here, be able to change the infotainment or the information display on the dashboard, but that doesn't appear to be working either. So let's get a code scan done on the vehicle and see what faults we can pull off it. So our scan tool of choice for today is the Snap-on Zeus. Got it clipped into our docking station so we can use the big screen. So I am going to get that up on the big screen so you can see it. Much better. We'll have a look at fault codes. So we're straight into our airbag system. We're going to click on codes only. And what do we got? We have driver's airbag igniter resistance too high. So everything seems to be centering around that steering wheel. So let's see if we've got any live data that will give us any more of a indication of what's occurring. So the only things I could really find on our live data using the Snap-on is that we've got passenger airbag igniter and it's referring to the resistance, and it's saying, it's confirming what we were thinking, resistance is too high. If we compare it to the passenger side, we have, as you can see there, probably a correct value. So we can see that the airbag module is currently seeing the high resistance, so the fault is present at the time. So we need to work out how we're going to test from here. So we've localized our issues to the steering wheel area, yeah? So the steering controls aren't working, horn doesn't work, and obviously we've got the airbag light on. All of these components run through what we call a clock spring, which is what it sounds like, a clock spring, which is a ribbon of wire that allows the steering wheel to turn either way and still maintain a contact. Now, if we've got a break in this clock spring, we are going to lose all the stuff to the steering wheel, including the airbag. But we want to be able to prove that, and prove that there's not a problem with a multifunction switch or somewhere else on the wiring harness that may be causing the issue. So our next step in testing is we're going to have to remove the airbag and be able to get to the back of it, and we're going to carry out some tests using some special tooling designed for checking airbag systems. Now, as a warning, airbag systems are extremely volatile. They are explosive devices fitted to the vehicle in order, it has an explosive device that inflates the bag. And if you don't know what you're doing and you're not trained in these systems, then please leave them alone and leave them for a trained diagnostic professional. These videos are really as an entertainment value and to show you what's kind of involved in doing it. This isn't a how-to guide of how you should be doing your own airbag testing. Okay, so let me get the steering wheel off, or get the airbag off, and then we'll carry out some more tests and see what we can suss out. So I've removed the airbag off the front of the steering wheel. Let me show you that. And we need to be able to plug into it in order to carry out some tests. Now, it's very important that you carry out no resistance tests with a multimeter, because you can if you do a resistance test on an airbag, there is even though it's a small amount of current flowing through the multimeter, or small voltages used on the multimeter, there is the potential that you could deploy the airbag. So we don't use multimeters when we're testing airbag systems. So here's the steering wheel all stripped out. So on the back here we've got a multi-plug that's rolling around to where it plugs directly into the back of the airbag. And there's also a wiring harness here that attaches to a wiring harness here that feeds our steering wheel controls. So we could have a potential problem in this wiring harness, or we could have it in the clock spring that sits behind here, or further back. So we need to verify where our fault is. So as you can see here, what we have plugged into the wiring harness, or where it comes directly off the clock spring, is we are using our AES Wave breakout lead kit, which is, I'd say it's one of our favourite tools in the workshop. It is what we class as the breakout kit of loveliness. So we've found the correct terminal, so we can plug in, make a nice connection on the multi-plug, and not damage any of the terminals and stuff that are coming off of that clock spring. What we're going to use in addition to that on this is our airbag. So airbag systems, they run a resistance through them, and the control unit can monitor that resistance. So remember, our fault code says resistance too high. So what this is going to do is it's going to simulate the resistance of the airbag. So this is going to pretend to be an airbag for a bit, or identify as an airbag for a bit. And we're going to plug this in place of the airbag and see if our fault code clears. So with our airbag resistor plugged in and set to the correct resistance, we can now go to the diagnostic computer and see if we can get these fault codes to clear. So on our live data screen, our driver's airbag igniter, it's still seeing the resistance as being too high. But let's go into clear codes and back into codes. And our fault code is still there. Now that tells us that the fault isn't likely to be with the steering wheel or the airbag itself. It's likely to be further back along the system, so clock spring, or wiring between the clock spring and the engine computer. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a similar kind of test and see if we can do that test on the other side of the clock spring. Now, whenever carrying out any tests on any electrical system, having good technical data is key. So behind us we're using E3 Technical, and we can use that to identify which wires that go into the clock spring control the airbag circuit. So we're going to use this technical data, and we're going to find the multi-plug that goes onto the clock spring, and we're going to carry that same test by putting that in on the other side of the clock spring to see if we can get that airbag light to extinguish. So here we are sat here with the steering wheel off, and this plug down the bottom here goes directly into our clock spring. So these wires in here supply power and signal to the horn, the multi-function buttons on the steering wheel, and also the airbag. So we're going to disconnect that, and we're going to find our correct wires, and we're going to probe those, or we're going to put in place our resistance tester and see if we can clear our faults. So what we've done now is we've pulled that plug out and we've gone into the correct terminals for our airbag squib. So this plug goes directly to, or the two wires that we're looking at go directly to the airbag ECU. So we're plugged in, and now we can check to see if we can clear our airbag light. So let's have a look and see if we can clear this fault code. Codes complete, codes only. And there you can see we now have no codes present. Let's have a quick look in live data, because you remember we had a live data PID for that driver's airbag, and there you go. Now you can see it's saying correct. So we've tested either side of the clock spring, and the only fault that we can find is it's going to be a broken ribbon within the clock spring. So we need to replace the clock spring, so we'll do that. So we have a new clock spring. We've taken the old one off the vehicle. As you can see, it comes off of the front of the multifunction switch, and we've got our new one. Let's have a look at that, and there it is. And you can see on this one we've got this little tab there that locks it in position, because you have to be careful when you take these off that they don't spin around independently, because then they'll tighten, and then that's what can cause them to snap if they're fitted incorrectly. So we've got this little locking tab in there to make sure it is in its central position, and that's designed to be fitted with the wheels pointed straight ahead. So we're going to get this back on, we're going to get everything plugged back in, and then we're going to make sure that our fault codes remain cleared. Right, so we're back together, and ignition on. Horn works. Yay! And if you look in the middle of there, let's zoom in a bit. We've got our multi-function steering wheel working again. Let's start the vehicle up. And we have no airbag light on. So we're happy we fixed our problem. And just as an added snippet, we're going to dismantle this. We're going to perform an autopsy on the old part, and we're going to see if we can see any brokenness on the inside of it. So let's have a look. So inside our clock spring, we have a ribbon, and it's supposed to be wound like a clock, so that allows the middle to stay attached with the outside disconnected. Now what we've actually got here is that this end of the ribbon has actually come away from wherever it's supposed to be attached to. I'm assuming it's supposed to be in there, on the end of there, like so. And it's been ripped out, and therefore caused a bad connection, loss of connection, and that's why it's failed. So yeah, this ribbon is the bit that sits inside your clock spring, and it allows it to curl up and around and allow you to turn the steering wheel and maintain a contact at the other end. So yeah, there we go. Interesting to see what goes on inside these pits when they failed. So there you have it, another fault rectified, using our test don't guess mentality, proving the fault before we start replacing bits as a guess. I very much hope you liked this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out some of our other social media stuff as well, and we'll see you next time.